She walks the line on a narrow street, Santiago's heat on her restless feet. Words like fire burn the air they meet. True speaker, she don't bow or retreat. Maria, Maria.
A history lesson for MAGA. Puerto Rico's Taíno roots run deep. Dear MAGA, buckle up for a history lesson you didn't ask for but desperately need. If you're wondering why Puerto Rico's story matters, it's because roots shape who we are, something you might miss while waving those red hats. The island's indigenous Taíno people built a vibrant world long before anyone discovered it, and their legacy still pulses in every Puerto Rican today. This isn't just a tale of the past, it's a wake-up call to understand a culture you can't erase with slogans. And no, I'm not here to debate. I wrote what I wrote. Guess you thought history started in 2016? The Taíno world. Thriving without your approval picture Boracay before it was renamed Puerto Rico, a lush island where the Taíno, part of the Arawak family, lived in harmony with the land. Their society wasn't some chaotic free-for-all. It was organized, led by caciques, think community bosses who knew their stuff. These folks grew crops like yucca and maize, fished the crystal waters, and hunted with skill, feeding villages without a single strip mall. Their families traced lineage through mothers, a matrilineal system that gave women a central role. Imagine that, a culture valuing women without needing a rally. They worshipped Zemis, spirits tied to nature, from stormy skies to fertile fields, showing a respect for the earth some modern folks could learn from. Their language gifted us words like hurricane, huracan, and barbecue, barbacoa, still seasoning our speech today. The Taíno didn't need your great again mantra. They were already great, and you can't tweet that away. But sure, tell me more about how history only counts when it's convenient for you. Columbus crashes the party in 1493. Christopher Columbus sailed in, planting a Spanish flag and calling the island San Juan Bautista, as if the Taíno were just waiting for a new landlord. This wasn't a friendly visit. The Spanish brought diseases like smallpox, forced labor, and outright violence, slashing the Taíno population faster than you can say colonization. By the 1500s, their numbers plummeted, some estimate from hundreds of thousands to mere thousands. Villages were torn apart, traditions crushed, all in the name of civilizing a people who were doing just fine. The Taíno fought back, but against guns and germs, their courage faced brutal odds. This wasn't discovery, it was destruction, plain and simple. So, MAGA, when you talk about building walls, maybe remember who invaded whose home first. Mestizaje, the birth of Puerto Rican soul out of the ashes of colonization, came something new. Taíno survivors mixed with Spanish settlers and Africans brought through the slave trade, creating a rich blend called mestizaje. This wasn't just a melting pot. It was a vibrant stew of cultures, flavors, and families. From Taíno root crops like yucca to African rhythms in music, Puerto Rico's identity took shape in kitchens, dances, and stories. Today's Puerto Ricans carry this DNA. Studies show many have Taíno ancestry, woven into their very being. Foods like mofongo, dances like bamba, even the way we laugh and love, owe debts to this fusion. This diversity isn't a weakness, it's our strength, a living rebuke to anyone preaching purity or division. Sorry, MAGA, your one-note vision of greatness can't handle this kind of cultural remix. Taíno revival. We're still here fast forward to today, and the Taíno spirit is making a comeback. Across Puerto Rico, people are reclaiming their indigenous roots, from learning Taíno words to reviving practices like crafting Zemi carvings. Festivals celebrate this heritage with music and dance, while scholars dig into Taíno history to set the record straight. Groups like the United Confederation of Taíno People push for recognition, ensuring the island's first people aren't forgotten. This isn't just nostalgia. It's a declaration that Taíno blood still flows in Puerto Rico's veins, alongside African and Spanish roots. Our culture, our food, our slang, our pride is a tapestry no one can unravel. Oh, MAGA, you thought you could ignore this history? Guess again, our roots are deeper than your campaign promises. No debate, just truth. Puerto Rico's story, from Taíno brilliance to modern resilience, is a cornerstone of Caribbean heritage. It's a reminder that our identity was forged through struggle, survival, and a blend of cultures that no wall or slogan can erase. I'm not here to argue with you, MAGA. I wrote what I wrote, and the truth doesn't need your approval. This island's history teaches us to honor our roots, celebrate our diversity, and stand tall against anyone who'd simplify us into oblivion. So take this lesson, read it with an online reader if you must, and let it sink in. Puerto Rico's heartbeat is louder than ever. And no, your red hat doesn't get a say in this story. Puerto Ricans are Americans, deal with it. MAGA Puerto Ricans are Americans. Yes, you heard that right. Born and bred on this Caribbean island, we're as US as your backyard barbecue. But somehow, certain red hat enthusiasts seem to miss this memo. So let's break it down with a history lesson that's clearer than a sunny day in San Juan. I'm laying out the facts, and no, I'm not here to debate them with you, MAGA. I wrote what I wrote, and it's time you learned something beyond campaign slogans. Oh, you thought Puerto Rico was just a vacation spot. Cute. Citizenship. Signed, sealed, delivered in 1917. Let's rewind to 1917, when the U.S. government decided to make things official with the Jones-Shafroth Act. This little piece of paper declared that anyone born in Puerto Rico is a U.S. citizen, full stop. That means we get U.S. passports, can hop on a plane to Miami without a visa, and have the same citizenship rights as someone born in Ohio or California. On paper, we're as American as it gets. Sure, the act came with some baggage. Uncle Sam didn't exactly ask Puerto Ricans if they wanted this deal, but it cemented our place in the Stars and Stripes Club. So when we wave our flag, it's not just a cultural flex, it's a legal reality. But sure, MAGA, keep acting like we're foreigners in our own country. That's a great look for you. Territory, not state. The catch now, here's where it gets tricky, and I know attention spans are short, so listen up. Puerto Rico is an unincorporated territory of the United States. Translation: we're under U.S. rule, but we're not a state. We're like the cousin who's invited to the family reunion but doesn't get a vote on the menu. We can weigh in on presidential primaries, picking candidates like any other American, but when it comes to the big November election, nope, unless we're living in a state, we're sidelined. In Congress, we've got a resident commissioner, a fancy title for someone who can speak up but can't vote on the final call. It's a half-in, half-out setup that's frustrated Puerto Ricans for decades. So, MAGA, when you chant about freedom, maybe spare a thought for the 3.2 million Americans who don't get a full say. Or is that too much math for you? Cultural pride. More than just a passport, being American doesn't mean Puerto Ricans ditch their soul. Our island's heart beats with a rhythm all its own. Think salsa music, mofongo on the table, and Spanish rolling off the tongue like poetry. Our culture pulls from Taíno roots, African beats, and Spanish flair, creating a vibe that's uniquely Puerto Rican. From festivals like Fiestas de la Cal San Sebastián to everyday phrases like Boricua, we carry our heritage with pride. Sure, we're U.S. citizens, but we don't need to bleach our identity to fit your mold. This blend of cultures doesn't weaken our Americanness, it makes the whole country richer. We're the spice in the American stew, whether you like it or not. Sorry, MAGA, your one-size-fits-all greatness can't handle this kind of flavor. Maybe stick to plain toast. No debate, just facts. Puerto Ricans are Americans, born, bred, and legally bound to the red, white, and blue. Our citizenship, won through history's twists and turns, is as solid as the Constitution you claim to love. Our culture, vibrant and unapologetic, adds depth to what it means to be American. So, MAGA, next time you're tempted to question our place or tell us to go back, remember, we're already home and we've been here, contributing longer than your movement's been around. I'm not here to argue. I wrote what I wrote, and the truth doesn't need your permission to stand. Take this lesson, read it with an online reader if your eyes glaze over, and let it sink in. Puerto Rico's American heartbeat isn't stopping for anyone. And no, your tweets don't rewrite reality, no matter how many exclamation points you use. The bitter roots of Puerto Rico's past. A tale of conquest, chains, and cultural resilience. Puerto Rico's history is a vibrant tapestry. woven with threads of triumph, tragedy, and tenacity. But let's not sugarcoat it. The island's past is steeped in the ugly realities of colonization and slavery, a legacy that still echoes in its culture and identity. This isn't just a history lesson. It's a story of human endurance, resistance, and the unyielding spirit of a people who refuse to be erased. So grab a seat, because we're diving into the messy, complicated truth of Puerto Rico's colonial roots and the African diaspora that shaped its soul. And to my MAGA readers out there, clutching your red hats in indignation, save your breath. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to tell it like it is, and I'm not coming back to argue with you. The Spanish invasion. A not-so-warm welcome, picture this. It's 1493, and Christopher Columbus, that oh-so-glorified explorer, sails into the Caribbean like he's on a divine mission. He plants a flag on an island inhabited by the Taíno people and declares it San Juan Bautista, as if the locals were just waiting for a European to give their home a new name. Fast forward to 1508, and Juan Ponce de Leon, a man with a knack for conquest, sets up shop in Capera, now Guaynabo, kicking off centuries of Spanish rule. The Taínos, who had been living their lives perfectly well, were suddenly under the boot of the encomienda system, a fancy term for forcing indigenous people to toil for the Spanish in gold mines and fields. It's colonization dressed up as civilization. And it was about as humane as a shark at a swim meet. The Taínos didn't just roll over. They resisted where they could, but European diseases, brutal labor, and outright violence decimated their population. Within decades, the Taíno numbers plummeted, leaving the Spanish scrambling for labor to keep their shiny new colony profitable. Oh, and to those waving the "but Columbus was a hero" flag, sorry, but history isn't a fairy tale. Your boy set the stage for centuries of exploitation, and I'm not here to rewrite the truth to make you feel cozy. Enter African slavery. A new chapter of injustice. With the Taíno population dwindling, the Spanish didn't exactly pause to reflect on their moral failings. Instead, they turned to Africa, because apparently their solution to a labor shortage was to rip people from their homes and ship them across the Atlantic. By 1513, the first African slaves arrived in Puerto Rico, marking the grim start of the transatlantic slave trade on the island. These men, women, and children were forced into backbreaking work on sugar, coffee, and tobacco plantations, the cash crops that fueled Puerto Rico's economy and lined the pockets of colonial elites. These plantations weren't just farms, they were the engine of a global economy that thrived on human suffering. Sugar, coffee, and tobacco became the island's lifeblood, and enslaved Africans were the ones bleeding for it. The Spanish didn't care about the human cost. They saw profit, not people. And to the MAGA crowd who might want to argue that slavery was just how things were back then, save it. That excuse doesn't erase the chains, the whips, or the lives stolen. I wrote what I wrote, and I'm not here to debate your revisionist history. Life in chains. Survival and defiance life for enslaved Africans in Puerto Rico was a daily grind of cruelty. They toiled under the scorching sun, with little food, no freedom, and the constant threat of punishment. Yet, in the face of this dehumanization, they carved out spaces of resistance and resilience. They preserved their cultural identities, weaving African traditions into the fabric of Puerto Rican life. From the rhythms of bamba and plena to spiritual practices that blended with Catholicism, their influence was profound and enduring. Resistance wasn't just cultural, it was active. Enslaved people escaped, forming maroon communities in the island's rugged interior, where they built lives beyond the reach of their oppressors. Others rebelled outright, risking everything for a taste of freedom. These acts of defiance were often crushed with brutal force, but they sent a clear message. You can chain a body, but you can't chain a spirit. To the MAGA folks who think history is just a list of dates and not a story of human struggle, good luck with that. I'm not here to spoon-feed you empathy or argue over facts you'd rather ignore. The long road to abolition, it wasn't until 1873 that Puerto Rico finally abolished slavery, thanks to a decree from the Spanish Parliament. This wasn't some grand gesture of goodwill. It was part of a broader wave of abolition across Spanish colonies, driven by economic shifts and growing global pressure. Emancipated slaves and their descendants didn't just fade into the background. They continued to shape Puerto Rico's culture, from its music to its cuisine to its very identity. The end of slavery didn't erase the scars, though. The socio-economic structures built on exploitation lingered, and the descendants of enslaved Africans faced new challenges in a society still grappling with inequality. Yet, their contributions were undeniable, breathing life into Puerto Rico's cultural heartbeat. And to those who might want to downplay this legacy or argue its ancient history, nice try. The past isn't a dusty book you can close, it's the foundation of the present, and I'm not here to debate that with you. A legacy that endures today, Puerto Rico's African heritage is everywhere, in the syncopated beats of bamba, the soulful melodies of plena, and the vibrant traditions that define the island's cultural identity. This isn't just a footnote in history. It's a living, breathing part of what makes Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico. The resilience of those who survived slavery and colonization is a testament to the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest times, people find ways to create, resist, and endure. The story of Puerto Rico's colonization and slavery isn't just about oppression. It's about the strength of those who refuse to be broken. It's a history that demands to be told with honesty, not whitewashed for comfort. And to the MAGA crowd who might be itching to argue that this is all divisive or unpatriotic, take a seat. I'm not here to coddle your feelings or debate the undeniable. I wrote what I wrote, and Puerto Rico's truth doesn't need your approval. Bad Bunny is not an immigrant, and Puerto Rico is not your punchline. Let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. Bad Bunny, the global reggaeton superstar, is not an immigrant. Born and raised in Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory, he's as American as apple pie, baseball, or whatever else you think screams USA. But somehow, the narrative around this Puerto Rican icon gets twisted, misunderstood, or just plain ignored by folks who don't bother to crack open a history book or, Google. So buckle up, because we're diving into the truth about Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio, aka Bad Bunny, and why his Puerto Rican roots are the heartbeat of his music and identity. And to my MAGA readers, clutching your red hats and ready to argue, don't bother. I'm not here to debate. I wrote what I wrote, and I'm serving facts, not fiction. Born in the Boricua heartland in 1994, in the coastal town of Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, a star was born. Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio came into the world not as an immigrant crossing borders, but as a U.S. citizen because, surprise, Puerto Rico has been a U.S. territory since 1898. That's right, folks, Puerto Ricans are Americans, no passport required. Growing up in Vega Baja, Benito was steeped in the sights, sounds, and struggles of island life. From the salsa beats echoing in the streets to the vibrant murals and the salty breeze off the Atlantic, his hometown shaped the artist who would later take the world by storm. This isn't some rags-to-riches immigrant tale. It's a story of a kid from a U.S. territory who turned his Boricua pride into a global phenomenon. Oh, and to the MAGA crowd who might be itching to yell, go back to where you came from at Bad Bunny, newsflash. He's already home. Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., and your geography teacher would be ashamed. I'm not here to argue with your border wall fantasies, so don't even try. The rise of a reggaeton rebel Bad Bunny didn't just stumble into fame, he built it, track by track, with a sound that's unapologetically Puerto Rican. Starting in his teens, he was uploading music to SoundCloud, blending reggaeton's infectious rhythms with the raw edge of Latin trap. By 2016, his single Dials caught the ear of a Puerto Rican DJ, and the rest is history. Hits like Soy Pure and Tu No Vivacy skyrocketed him to fame, not just in Puerto Rico, but across Latin America and beyond. His music isn't just catchy, it's a love letter to Puerto Rican culture, from its slang to its struggles, delivered with a swagger that's impossible to ignore. What makes Bad Bunny stand out isn't just his beats, but his refusal to dilute his identity. He sings in Spanish, rocks traditional Puerto Rican styles, and calls out social issues like inequality and political neglect on the island. This is a man who's proud of his roots, and he's not about to let anyone forget where he's from. To the MAGA folks who think American music should only be in English, sorry, but Bad Bunny's topping the charts while you're still stuck on your outdated playlist. I'm not here to debate your narrow view of culture, so save your tweets. Puerto Rican, not foreign. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the persistent, infuriating misconception that Puerto Ricans are somehow foreign. Puerto Rico has been a U.S. territory for over a century, and its people have been U.S. citizens since the Jones-Shafroth Act of 1917. Yet, time and again, Puerto Ricans are treated like outsiders in their own country. Bad Bunny's success has shone a spotlight on this ignorance, as some folks, yes, I'm looking at you, certain red hat enthusiasts, seem baffled that a Spanish-speaking artist from Puerto Rico could dominate the American music scene. Spoiler alert, he's not an immigrant, and he's not taking over anything. He's a citizen making art in his homeland. This misunderstanding isn't just annoying, it's rooted in a colonial mindset that dismisses Puerto Rico as lesser or other. Bad Bunny's music challenges that narrative head-on, celebrating Puerto Rican identity while demanding respect. His songs are laced with the island's slang, its humor, and its resilience, reminding the world that Puerto Rico isn't just a vacation spot. It's a culture, a people, a force. And to those who still don't get it, thinking Puerto Rico is some foreign country, congratulations, you've failed basic civics. I'm not here to hold your hand through a history lesson, so don't come at me with your ignorance. A voice for the island. Bad Bunny isn't just a musician, he's a cultural ambassador. His lyrics often tackle the real issues facing Puerto Rico: poverty, political corruption, and the aftermath of disasters like Hurricane Maria. In 2019, he joined protests against then-Governor Ricardo Rossello, using his platform to amplify the voices of Puerto Ricans fed up with mismanagement and neglect. His music video for El Apagón doubles as a mini-documentary, highlighting the island's struggles with power outages and gentrification. This isn't just art, it's activism rooted in a deep love for his people. While some artists shy away from politics, Bad Bunny leans in, proving that you can be a global superstar and still keep it real. He's not just singing about Puerto Rico, he's fighting for it, whether it's through his music or his public statements. And to the MAGA crowd who might roll their eyes at his activism, claiming he should stick to music, yawn. Your complaints about woke celebrities don't change the fact that Puerto Rico deserves better, and Bad Bunny's out here doing the work. I'm not here to debate your apathy, so keep scrolling. A cultural icon, not a stereotype. Bad Bunny's impact goes beyond music. He's reshaping what it means to be Puerto Rican in the global spotlight. From his flamboyant fashion to his genre-bending sound, he's breaking stereotypes about what a Latin artist should be. He's not trying to fit into some Americanized mold. He's forcing the world to meet him on his terms. His Grammy wins, chart-topping albums, and sold-out world tours are proof that you don't need to abandon your culture to succeed. Puerto Rican pride is the core of his brand, and he's making sure the world knows it. His influence is everywhere, in the way young Puerto Ricans embrace their heritage, in the global rise of reggaeton, and in the conversations he's sparked about identity and representation. Bad Bunny isn't just a star, he's a movement, one that's proudly, defiantly Boricua. And to those MAGA folks who might sneer at his success, muttering about foreign music taking over, get over it. The world's bigger than your bubble, and Bad Bunny's here to stay. I'm not here to argue with your small-mindedness, so don't waste my time. The bigger picture. Bad Bunny's story isn't just about one man's rise to fame, it's about Puerto Rico's enduring spirit. His music is a celebration of a culture that's been marginalized, misunderstood, and too often ignored. By staying true to his roots, he's not only elevating Puerto Rican identity, but also challenging the world to rethink its assumptions about what it means to be American. Puerto Rico isn't just a territory. It's a vibrant, resilient community that's been shaping the U.S. for centuries, whether you acknowledge it or not. So, the next time someone tries to call Bad Bunny an immigrant or dismiss Puerto Rico as not really America, remember this. He's a U.S. citizen, born and raised, and his success is a testament to the power of Puerto Rican culture. His story is a reminder that identity isn't a monolith, and neither is the American experience. And to the MAGA crowd, still fuming about this foreign artist dominating your airwaves, take a deep breath and maybe crack open a map. Puerto Rico's been part of the U.S. longer than most of your talking points, and I'm not here to debate your willful ignorance. Signed, Santiago del Carmen Maria, crowning. Thoughts. Copyright 2025 independent writer, crowning thoughts truth speaker, AI video content creator writer blogger Santiago DC. Maria. All rights reserved.